Hey guys, it's Will. So RedWire stock has been moving quickly today, and we just saw them make the announcement in person actually yesterday at the Space Symposium. I was there. I'm here in Colorado Springs for the event, and you can see in our space tech watch list, they're leading the way up 31% today. One of our positions that was doing really good today so far was this SOXL position we took. It's a bullish semiconductor space. We're up $705 just today on that trade. So absolutely crushing it over there. And if you guys want to see those live sessions today, we were at the symposium. So we're getting some of the insights from these space companies and actually going back into our app over here that we're building to be able to map out how all of these companies are connected. And so I have that down here. So we're going to be able to, click on one of these companies in the near future and get better analysis. If I just pop it up, then it will have most of these things filled. Still working on it. So anyway, when we're looking at this company, the RDW, that's what it is, RDW, it is down to $6.95. The reality of the company is that they have recently announced some big news. You can see if you go to RedWire Space here, search on their recent news, and I actually have a picture of these people speaking right at the RedWire. They just announced this iSpace MOU to jointly pursue commercial lunar exploration missions. This is a huge contract. So you can see they're at the 40th Space Symposium. NASA's CLPS contract is a multi-award indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity IDIQ contract with a cumulative maximum contract value of $2.6 billion through 2028. $2.6 billion. So RedWire is proud to partner with iSpace US to pursue upcoming commercial lunar exploration. This is a huge stimulus. They have approximately 750 employees working from 17 facilities located throughout the United States and Europe, and they're committed to building a bold future in space. A lot of the companies that we saw, I have a bunch of pictures that I took. I actually got to go to this happy hour here at this RedWire event, and I can tell you that the involvement from the U.S. government in the space exploration is huge. I mean, it's like driving a lot of the revenue that's going to these space companies. And RDW, with this new news, has surged 30% today. So as you can see, it doesn't look like that much compared to where they've been. But a lot of these companies, Rocket Lab, even AMD is up 21% today. So that's a big deal. See them up to their last price is 95. They're still down, but Rocket Lab 21%, RDW up. This is just indication that we see more of a massive influx of cash still into the space industry. I was going to the space industry today and yesterday, wondering, is there a lot, like, look at this chart, it's been selling off. Is there like less momentum in these companies? Is there not as much maybe good sentiment and excitement? And that's not what we found. So we found that there's a lot of hype happening in the space industry, and they're not slowing down. The market's growing extremely fast. I went and got to talk with basically all the companies here that you guys just saw that I have added over into this market framework, this chart where you can see the different companies. And I also got to see which techs are the best for example, satellite imaging and recording weather, or looking at the different use cases for this type of tech to be implemented, and which tech is really the best. And I got to talk with, I did go to the direct companies, but I went to the partners of the companies in order to hear what they had to say about the usage of the tech. And that was the most effective. So I actually went to Air Force Research Laboratory as well to talk with because they're a big partner with RedWire. So I was able to go talk with them, and they actually gave me some really good insights. One of the insights, so we're kind of looking at the chart here while I'm talking about them, so that's okay. But I'm going to show the chart more. We'll break it down, the chart as well as some of the financials on RedWire. But one of the things that they talked about was that Air Force Research Lab was saying the sensors that they're using, they're basically like these big cameras. They're these massive sensors. I actually have a video. I'll show it up while I'm talking. And these sensors, rather than using LiDAR, which a lot of companies have been pursuing, LiDAR, it works pretty good for example, car sensors because it's like right in front of us. But when it comes to LiDAR in space, the distances are so far away that when you use LiDAR, which shoots a signal and then bounces it back and we read that signal, that the signal when it's coming back, it just, they shoot every which way and it's not as accurate. So you get a lot of scattered data. So what they found is that one of the best ways to get really, really good data, whether it's for missile detection or space weather or incoming asteroids or solar flares or whatever it may be, they use these extremely high-tech cameras. I mean, the cameras are the actual microchip that goes on the back and the sensor. It was absolutely, it looked like a D-wave quantum computing chip. That's how it looked. And then they put this huge lens on it, and then they have to think about solar flare or the different radioactivity and things like that. So they anyway, they were telling me that the infrared and that the camera was giving them much better results for reading down on Earth than using LiDAR because the LiDAR was scattering every which direction and not giving them the best reads. So anyway, I thought that was really interesting to know. And RDW, with the contracts that they have, let's just take a look at their chart real quick and then we'll get into the company. The chart, they were at just this past year around $3 a share. They surged to $28 a share in this uptrend and then sold off. They've been below this moving average, you see, and they just recently broke above the EMA, and now they're trying to break above this SMA. So really nice move there for RDW. The move here that would be the next level to break through would be this previous support. If we're going to see a recovery here in the near term, would be a couple things. It's at this level right here. So this is a previous resistance at where it's at right now. But also this support right here. This is a support level, support, resistance. And so right there around $11.70 will be a struggle most likely for it to push up above. If we see it break above this $11.50, $11.70 range, then we're really starting to see a recovery on the company and potentially seeing it get back into these previous highs. But again, it has to break that key level of support and resistance to get there. Now, the RSI and the MACD still actually, even though it's up 27% today, they're still looking more like a buy down here. But again, the overall direction still is a little bit down. We'd like to see the break. That's why I'm drawing this level, saying this is such a key level, because again, it's still getting rejected by that 200-day moving average, and there's no telling that it won't get rejected. But that is a really good contract that they have, and that's some really good announcements that we saw, so we'll see how that plays out. Now, if they break above this level, the next levels would be this previous resistance here at around $15. See that resistance there? And then this support, so previous resistance acting as a support, and there's also a resistance right there. So again, that would be right here about a 20% increase from there. And so that would be from current prices about a 50% increase. So there's its upside that it has. I'll tell you, there's a lot of really good sentiment around the company when I just went there. And then, of course, the previous highs would be about 170% increase. So not saying that's going to happen like that. It might be way longer horizon. We're not really sure. But just wanted to keep that in mind for you guys so you guys can see what the levels are. There's a few levels that it'll have to break. Last thing on the technicals before I get into some of the news and financials is the, or just the financials, the Fibonacci. Okay, so if we take a look at Fibonacci, I really like to come down from, you go from the top down to the nearest low, which was back here, and then you drop to where, or you go to where you think it could recover to. Now, I'm saying that it could probably get back into this trend level potentially, would be right around here. And that puts it, the golden ratio is oftentimes where we would buy. So let me just get rid of some of these drawings here. See a little clearer. So right now, it's not in the golden ratio. The golden ratio would be up here around $12. So the golden ratio is at 0.618. This is according to Fibonacci where the buy would be. And then, so keep that in mind. That's what we said. It's got to break above this $11.70 range or $12 range. Looks like confirmation, according to Fibonacci, would be more in this $12 range. And then if it breaks up above there in the buy range, a good trade would be in this pink. A great trade would be in this, purple to sell. And then a really amazing trade would be up here. But some of you guys are looking at it long term. Just thought I'd bring up some of the more technical short term as well for you guys to take a look. Now, when it comes to RDW, we're going to take a look at their stock. They have some interest from a lot of big institutions, which we'll get into. But the financials right now, $762 million market cap. They're bringing in about $50 to $100 million per quarter. So they were at $87 million in revenue quarter one, then increasing quarter over quarter, $78 million in that quarter, 68, and then 69. So the year over year is up 9% on revenue, but that net income is down. So they're spending more and more in R&D, which is normal. Like that's what they're doing. Their revenue still missing, their earnings per share still missing. Maybe with this new contracts that they have here, that will increase and put them into the green again for revenue. We could see that potentially. Now, when it comes to the financials, again, the thing that I would watch closely is the net income. Right now, it's more of a buying what could be, which is fine. And that's what you are looking at with most space companies, with just a very, very few amount of them even looking profitable at all. So it's not really, anything that I would worry about. But you still have to, as an investor, you want to see promising financials. So the other piece of that is, let's go ahead and RDW stock NASDAQ. And then we'll also check the actual site, RedWire Corp. For NASDAQ, what I wanted to look at here, if you jump into the stock, it's really important to see what institutional holdings there are. And we could just get a quick look at the company from an institutional holding perspective. They have BlackRock, Vanguard. Okay, those are huge. And it looks like they got somewhere in the realm of 120 million. Morgan Stanley is in there as well. And State Street as well. So those are the types of firms. Goldman Sachs. I'm giving you guys the outlook on the stock right now, and this is kind of the value as well that the big institutions are already seeing in it. So just keep that in mind. And it's still a market cap that's fairly low, which means there hasn't been a massive influx into the company. Let's say they become similar to that of a Rocket Lab. I think Rocket Lab at one point was 11 billion or somewhere in there, 5 to 11 billion in market cap. So, let's say that happens. That's a 10x from RedWire's current price. Now, again, they're at the Space Symposium. It's been good to see them there, and you can see that new contract there. RedWire Corporation reports fourth quarter, so we just went over those earnings. You can see their integrated mission enabler. They got solar arrays, deployable structures, in-space propulsion systems, whether they use, I don't know if they use lasers or they use fuel or what it is that they use. But I know that it's called a Valkyrie thruster, generation Hall effect thruster designed to deliver high performance solutions to proliferated satellite constellations. It's with phase 4. The Valkyrie thruster is anticipated to go full rate production. And when you look at the tech that they're building, it's very encouraging. They do small satellites, and they also are in the launch accommodations. So if you take a look at some of the launch accommodations, they have subject matter experts with decades of experience with payload and stack design. They provide critical payload deployment, subsystems, and engineering services for first flight of Expo's new rocket. So that's some big news there. And again, they got technology arriving to Mars aboard that Mars 2020 mission. So that was a while back. So they've been in it for a while, and they have some really good bases already established. And I mean bases, not necessarily facilities, although they do have this Albuquerque facility specializing in development of delivery advanced engineered products. What I mean by bases is they have a foundation of partnerships with different companies and with different technology developments that can put them at an advantage in the space industry. And the government funding, I don't believe, will see too much of a slow. You can see them working with, Ball Aerospace, Sierra Space, Boeing, Air Force Research Labs, which is where I talked to. And also you got, what was the other one? SpaceX, maybe? I didn't see SpaceX. That's okay. But at the end of the day, they're growing very fast and it looks promising. So again, on the chart, we're starting to see a little bit of a recovery. Would it make sense that we could see potential moves up into this range? It could. The market's been volatile. So again, we're going to look for that break above that $11.50 range, and we'll see what happens. We love to look at these opportunities every day. Today, I was at the space conference and yesterday, but I can tell you that on normal days, Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have our eyes open and we're tuned in live here in the markets to make trades that can grow our portfolio in space, in AI, in quantum. And we have a huge sale right now. If you want to watch me trade live, it's that second link in the description. You can surround yourself with like-minded traders and investors. There's a lot of individuals there that are very highly motivated. And I'm sure that if you're working towards a goal, you'd find that you'd have a greater chance of hitting that success being in Stockmate. So again, Stockmate is that second link in the description. We're going live tomorrow at Pacific Standard Time, 6:30 a.m. at Market Open to trade. So again, appreciate you all. If I got your like, if I earned it, hit that like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.